loves, I hope you are doing well. My name is Khanya Modipa, chartered accountant of South Africa. Because we are starting a financial series, I think it's probably important to share that I am a chartered accountant, and so I think that it's important also to share some of the mistakes that I have made with money and some of the success stories that I've had with money. So my loves, if you aren't aware, I have started the platform Save with K Finance, and if you're coming from there and onto this video, welcome. Thank you very much for following me over there. And if you haven't, yes, it is Save with K Finance. That is the channel or the platform that I have built where I am sharing all of the information that I have with regards to personal finance. So today, my loves, I wanted to share with you guys investing for beginners. I get so many questions, Hans, what I gotta do to, save my money, invest my money. And like, I've been getting it for so long now. I think it's important that I just spit it out, share with the people what it is that you need to do in order to save. So without further ado, my loves, let's get right into it. Okay. So first things first, I'm going to be looking down just because I've made notes. I have done my research, make sure that, I haven't forgotten something. So the first thing that you need to do when it comes to saving, and people will tell you time and time again, you need to start today. You cannot delay the saving and investing habits because, my loves, unfortunately we have this thing called time and it's limited. So the earlier that you start investing and saving, the more time you have, to make the mistakes that you will make, because this is life, right? And correct those mistakes and make a lot of money, because we have this beautiful thing called compound interest, and it can only work when you allow yourself enough time. So my loves, it's very important that you get started today. Make that budget today. So what do I mean by starting today, right? So I know some of you guys might be a little bit excited and think, let me just start investing my money right now. I'm gonna go and buy some shares, some stocks. But I need to ask you something. Do you have savings? Because savings and investing are two very separate things. Savings is the money that you've got that is readily available, that you can call upon just like that in order for you to cover something that might be happening. Let's say your tire goes through a pothole, or the geyser has leaked or something, and you need to cover those expenses that might have occurred. So your savings is where you are going to take that money and cover some of these things that have happened. If you don't have any saving, I would not advise you that you go into investing. Why? Because investing is a exercise that is, at least for me, for a longer period of time. You don't want to be taking money from your investments to try cover holes from emergencies that have occurred in your life, right? That is not the way that you want to go about things. And also some investments, like say for instance, you've purchased a house and you are making rental income from that home. Now you have to liquidate this house, basically make it cash, right? In order for you to be able to cover something as as a way to make up for the mistakes that you've made, right? That just basically is not really good financial habits. So you want to get in a position where you are saving first. Now, the question is, how much money I got saved? Well, what I have researched, that it's very important that you probably save between 3 to 6 months worth of your salary. You probably save between 3 to 6 months worth of your salary. What you mean? What do you mean 6 months? 6 months? That's a lot of money, right? Yes, it is a lot of money. But again, remember why this is so important. This is to save you in a situation like a pandemic, where things like even having a job is not guaranteed. This is why it's important that you have your savings and start little by little, by paying yourself first. If you are one of the lucky people out there who has a job or has a business that is successful, pay yourself first. Why are you paying yourself first? So that you can build your savings and funds. And the best way to do that is to set up a debit order. That way you don't have to think about it. You don't have to physically go, oh, I have to put in this money to put it into a separate account. Basically, it just happens automatically. The money that you have left in your bank account, then you'll know that's the money that's left for the bills, as well as entertainment and other things that you want to do with your money. So get a debit order set up so that you don't have to think about it. Okay, Okay, so now you've saved, you've done all those amazing things, you've got between 3 to 6 months worth of your salary. So if something were to happen, you're able to cover your basic expenses. So now we've moved into the investing realm, right? So you have this extra bit of money that you're now gathering, and then you want to start investing. So for a lot of people, I think they think that investment, why can't I speak? Investments are, that you require a lot of money for that. No, you certainly don't require a lot of money to invest. You can start with as little as like 100 Rand, guys. What's so amazing about some of these platforms that we have available today in South Africa or around the world, no matter where you're watching this from, is that you can start investing today with as little money as possible, because you don't necessarily have to purchase the entire share, right? So for instance, in the platforms that I use Easy Equity. This is not an ad. Easy Equities, as well as Robinhood in the US. What I found is that if I want to buy Amazon shares, right, and I know that they're $3,000, girl, I ain't got some money to buy a full share, but you can buy a little small bit of that share if I want to do that. So this is basically emphasizes to you that you do not need to have a lot of money to start investing. And as I said, you got to invest today, because you will be grateful for it in 50, 60 years from now, depending on how old you are today. So those investments are super important. But one investment advice that I was looking at, which is very interesting, and I felt like it's important to emphasize this too, is also investing in yourself. So this is something that people think is this maybe sometimes a waste of time and money, but it's really truly important that you invest in yourself. So you give yourself the money and the time to really just be better. Why? Because when you are down and the chips are not falling in the way that you might have wanted, you are able to draw within yourself the time, the energy, in order to make something of yourself. So if you invest in yourself and work hard every single day to just upskill yourself, you are then able to make something of yourself. And obviously, as a fitness person, I must emphasize that investing in your physical health is just as important, because we actually spoke about time. And if you take care of your physical health, then you're stretching the amount of time that you have left on this planet, right? So that's just my little tidbit on investing in yourself. Do it. It is very important. Okay, so now let's go back to sort of the assets that you can invest in. There are a myriad of assets that you can invest in, and I will not go into them into great detail today, but there are things like shares, there are things like real estate, there are businesses that you can invest in. Really, it depends on what your appetite is also, because I'm sure you might have heard, risk versus reward. Obviously, the higher the risk, the higher the reward. And depending on the kind of person that you are and some of the issues that you might have happening in your life, you might have a higher or lower risk appetite. And know what you are willing to part with, because when you are investing, there are some of them that are, you're going to be putting in money in this, and it might go up and down. And if you're not the kind of person who is willing to go with like volatility, then, maybe look into other investment vehicles that do not give you that much volatility. When you are younger, you are generally able to have a better risk appetite, because you do have this wonderful thing called time. So that's why I keep saying or emphasizing to you that the earlier that you start investing, the better for you, because you can also correct some of those early mistakes that people tend to get into. Like I've said, very important to invest in yourself, and the best way to do that is to also start researching some of those investment vehicles. The onus is on you that you look and see what are some of the investment vehicles that I'm maybe even passionate about. Like I'm quite passionate about, for instance, shares and tech shares specifically, and so I do a lot of research and investments into that. But again, also trying to teach myself about other things. The most important thing that I have to also emphasize to you guys is that I would not invest in things that I do not know, right? Because if they're going in or behaving in ways that I do not expect, I'm likely to pull out of it when it is not necessarily advisable to pull out. So when you are investing in companies or in investment vehicles that you fully understand, then you're not maybe as emotional. I also have a very long-term view. I know there are people out there who are willing to, go in and out every morning investing their money. But I would say that unless you are an expert, try to stay away from that, because your emotions emotions just get the best of you, and you end up pulling out of really amazing investment vehicles because at that moment that investment vehicle is not doing so great. But later on, it starts to pick up. One of the mistakes I've made was pulling out of Tesla. And today, Tesla is worth so much money. But that was a mistake that I will never repeat again. I have a 5 to 10 year plan when it comes to my investments. I will not sell, and I will not, panic buy into things. I really do my research, and I really say, okay, does this make sense for my overall portfolio? Do I have the appetite for this? Do I know all the risks that are involved? Do I know how this company makes its money before I'm about to put that money in? Because it's not hard-earned money. Money is the time that I put in at work that has converted into this currency that now I am putting into something else. So to me, it's very personal. So I need to make sure that whatever I'm investing in, I fully understand. And as we're about to wrap up this wonderful video on beginner investments or investing, I do want to emphasize a key thing that I think a lot of people tend to miss when you are investing in shares specifically, or like mutual funds or indexes. It's important that you pay attention to any fees. So there are some platforms that when you are investing in them, they will take a certain percentage. Now, for some people, it might seem pretty small to have someone take about 2 to 3%, but it really does add up. You don't want to pay unnecessary fees. So do your research. Make sure that you are investing with a platform that you are willing to pay those fees. Also remember that there are taxes involved. Oh, the government always trying to make money from us. While there are also investment vehicles such as the tax-free savings account that was I know that a lot of countries have them, but in South Africa specifically, we have the tax-free saving accounts, and I did a whole video on that. Check in the description box below, where basically these tax-free savings accounts are out there to encourage people to invest. So all of the money that you make there, you will not get taxed on it. So I would emphasize to you that maybe you should use that vehicle, because taxes do take up a huge chunk of your money. So those are the two things that I really just wanted to remind you of as a beginner when you are starting to look at investments. My loves, thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful video. Please share with me what else you would like to know with regards to investments, with regards to savings, with regards to growing your business, starting a business, whatever it is that is money related. Please drop a comment below, and don't forget to like and to subscribe, to share this with all of your friends, because we need to start talking about money as millennials, as Gen Zs. We really need to take responsibility when it comes to our own money. And thank you so much for watching this video. Until next time, bye.